Moving on, Faridabad, Nuh in Haryana, Pathankot in Punjab, and Uttar Dinajpur in Bengal. Doctors with links to both the Al-Falah University and the Red Fort terror attack have been arrested from all these locations. The university in focus has now two more FIRs filed against it, and these are for forgery and cheating by the Delhi Police Special Branch. The trustee, Javed Siddiqui, has a murky past too, having served over 3 years in jail for defrauding people of 7.5 crore rupees. This university is now at the center of investigation, having trained the white-collar terrorists behind Delhi terror attack. The allegations themselves are so serious that the university cannot be allowed to function at all. We'll talk about this with our guests and try to understand what really happened and why was this university not aware, like they say, about all of these activities that were happening right under their noses. Major General Shashi Asthana, senior defense expert, with us on the program. He's former DG Infantry as well. Mr. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS, with us on the program. Dr. PSV Rao, consultant surgeon, Manipal Hospital, is with us on the broadcast as well. Pathikrit Pine, foreign affairs expert, also joins us on the show to talk about this. General Asthana, I'll begin with you. Well, it's perhaps the first time in my recollection that, a college, a university, which disposes of degrees such as engineering and doctorates in medicine, is at the center of a terror conspiracy. Obviously, a number of doctors who have been rounded up by the police have had connection with this university. There's also been an establishment of the fact that the person who ran this university has a dubious past, but it's all worrying when you put it all together, sir. It's a white-collar syndicate trying to, in fact, promulgate terror activities throughout the country. And secondly, it was happening in a place, for which you would never have guessed that something like this could happen over here. What kind of a Pandora's box does that open for our security apparatus, sir?
Certainly, it's a big worry, it's a big concern, because doctors community is one of the most trusted community which everybody in public life trusts them, as well as the universities are again one of those areas where perhaps the risk of getting detected is relatively low, because you would notice that as per our laws, even police to get into university and search into university requires the permission of vice chancellor. There is some law to say to that effect, that police cannot enter universities just like that. So we are now getting caught in some of the weaknesses which we were perhaps not aware of earlier. And conversely, the extremists, these terrorists, they are getting wiser to perhaps get into areas which can be less suspicious, which can be more effective, and these white-collar terrorists are even more dangerous for the reason because of, firstly, their immunity because of searches and because of their so-called noble profession, and more so, their reach to certain sensitive technologies. Now imagine this case. We had one accident in Kashmir, and we found another round of explosion wherein we had some casualties. Now, like this, if this 3,000 kgs of explosive had it been exploding at the places where they wanted it to explode, it would have been a massacre. But somehow, because of maybe perhaps some good initiative of our agencies, that this was caught, and this terror network is being now is being investigated and caught. So apparently we are getting these vehicles, and we are getting all these shall I say terror modules, because now vehicles have also become weapons. These terrorists, these doctors are terrorists anyway, and the all kinds of concessions which are generally given to a university, they are all under suspicion. Now, it also says a sad tale of our checking the systems of checking even in our normal life. A university employs a doctor who was actually dismissed in Kashmir because of terror network, connection with terror network. Nobody so far actually checked the accounts of Al-Falah University. Accreditation was not there, but then nobody could check it. Even the students who were studying under them, when a first incident of this kind came up, that this doctor distributed the class into boys and girls, these boys and girls should have been alarmed that there is something like Taliban kind of style being implemented on us, and nobody spoke. So what is happening is that not only that the authorities have lapsed, the security and intelligence agencies certainly need have a lot to work on because of these lapses which are coming into place. But as citizens, we are also, I think it's a message to all the citizens of the country that when police says that you must investigate and get a proper police investigation before renting a house, then it must be done so. Same is the case with the selling of car. After all, when they collected all this kind of explosive, they must have collected in many bits, and so many shops would have been involved to collect smaller bits of ammonium nitrate to make it such a huge. So it's a plethora of, shall I say, weaknesses and lapses which we need to perhaps plug, and whatever is uncovered, I think everybody must be convicted. That is my biggest worry, because in past, one has seen that everything happens so long the iron is hot, and subsequently everything fades down and the lawyer community takes on, and all these guys get saved. Now that is the biggest worry. UAPA is a weak law. Same is the case with the laws related to universities. So I think we need to perhaps work a little more on that. We need.
Mr. Sahai, your take on this? UAPA is a weak law. There's a plethora of lapses and lacunas, which is perhaps going to become a case study, a prototype, if we can call it, Mr. Sahai, for the agencies to go by. Your thoughts?
We'll get into the agencies later, but first and foremost, what we are facing, I have been talking in lots of physical conferences, is that there is a complete regulatory crisis in this country. From NAC certification to variety of other certifications, also the background verification.
Can't use you, sir. There's a problem with your video, sir. I would request you to please log on to a better connection. We can't have you on national TV with that kind of a video. Pathakrit, the same question for you. What kind of a prototype of a case study is this likely to be, considering the fact that there are a number of novel nuances, Pathakrit, so to speak, involved here?
Vineet, the most important thing, look at the way the universities consider themselves more important than even embassies of this country. You can't enter a university, the police can't enter without the permission of the VC. And I have often witnessed where the police is considered almost as if wherever, especially the leftist students unions are there, they look at the police as almost an enemy coming, not one of the law enforcement agency of the country. Why can't a police enter a university when it is necessary? Why is it that it is entirely at the discretion of the VC to decide? Secondly, when it comes to accreditation, UGC every year comes out with a list of universities which are fake. I think UGC thinks that is enough that UGC should do. But often we have seen that such institutes keep on running. The onus is only on the students to decide that no, I should not study there. So I think this mechanism has to change. There are too many areas where we have this Schedule 7 of something being under as a state subject and something being under a union list. That has crippled the organizations, agencies. That has crippled. So I think that has to change, because I primarily think, I have said the other day that UAPA has to be improved with a better law. But I think we need an internal security commission and an internal security act. unless we have an internal security act, and everything which is concerning national security should be dealt as a national threat instead of putting everything as a law and order issue. That has to be done. Fourth, there are many such so-called minority institutions which gets funds from abroad. Who funds them? What is the purpose? What is being taught? Who comes in? Who goes out? Well, again, there are too many restrictions. If the police tries to be too proactive, then we are called a police state. As it is, we are called a fascist nowadays. That has to be considered. Last but not the least, the most important factor, when will in this country radicalization will be considered a crime? Somebody who radicalizes is arrested, convicted or accused only when an act of terror happens. But those who radicalize, majority of such people, those who radicalize, try to create orthodox conservatives, and out of that some become extremist in mindset. Out of those, some take the extreme step to become a terrorist. But when will we make it a law that you cannot spread hatred against those who do not believe in your religion, or who owe allegiance to another religion? That is happening, and unfortunately, that is happening since independence, or even before that. So the regulatory aspect, as General Asthana mentioned, is a very critical aspect. For far too long, in too many areas, we have taken the concept of civil liberty to such extent, human rights to such extent, that it has become a farce, that it has become self-defeating for us. General Asthana mentioned, I'll just take 10 more seconds. General Asthana mentioned about segregation. But segregation is allowed in this country. If you want to say something, they will be saying that no, it's a minority institution. We will decide what is important for us. We have allowed these things in the name of freedom. So that's why what is right has to be right for all. What is wrong has to be wrong for all. Two important things, I repeat: an internal security commission and an internal security act. Law and order can be a state subject. National security is not a state subject. Organized crime, terrorism, any kind of extremist activity can't be dealt as a law and order issue.
Fair enough.
Unless we create that demarcation, we have a problem. Back to you.
Let me get Dr. Rao also into this conversation. Dr. Rao, are you worried, mortified that this is all being attached to a university which renders medical degrees and diplomas to students, and this is a place which is sacrosanct in nature, but it's been pulled into this kind of a storm because of clearly what has happened over here. There's clear evidence of doctors who have come out of this university and have direct links with the terror attacks that have happened in Delhi, and of course the seizure that has happened in Faridabad.
Good evening, Vineet, all panelists and the viewers. Yes, I am mortified. I am not just worried, I am really mortified. Our profession, if you take any global survey, doctors are considered the most trusted. Others, the next is teachers, scientists, and as far as the security forces are concerned, it differs from nation to nation. The judiciary, the police and the army, it differs from nation to nation. But as far as doctors are concerned, the medical profession is concerned, it is the most trusted profession anywhere in the world. And why? Because we are in a noble profession where we are saving lives. The last thing any security person will even think of is that a doctor who is supposed to save lives will be out doing terrorist activities. This brings, and as a surgeon, I have depended on the trust of patients. The patients trust me with their life when I am operating on them. Now, this kind of activity will bring a question mark on all of us. This is a huge problem. It will also put a question mark on the hospitals, the ambulance, and various other facilities which have a Red Cross mark on it. or a Green Cross, whatever. So this is a huge problem. And when I joined MBBS, at least my medical college conducted a 3-day psychological test to see if we were fit enough to join a profession which was basically a service oriented profession and not a business. But all that has changed. At least in other medical colleges, I don't find it. And like has already been discussed by the previous panelists, if you don't start checking as to what is going on behind university boards and educational institutions, it is going to be a huge problem. I would suggest that we start anyone, any teachers, students, etc. There should be an initial psychological check to see if they are really suited for the profession they are choosing, and the teachers are suitable for what they are supposed to do. Secondly, I think just like security cameras are proliferating, we should also have a proliferation of metal detection tests and explosive detector tests or sniffer dogs in all places, not just airports. The airports received high security after hijacking started. Now that they are hijacking our institutions and our trusted institutions, it's about time the checks are held. How can someone carry a can you carry a AK-47 into an airport? You can't. How can someone carry it into a hospital and put it into a locker? How can so much of explosives be collected by these doctors, so-called doctors? And why I am emphasizing on the psychological tests is that someone who has absolutely no empathy and no remorse is the only one who can do this double agent kind of work, where he is a terrorist on one side and he is a doctor on the other side. And I'm sure psychological tests should be able to figure out who are the people who have absolutely no brainwashed to an extent where they can't have any remorse or empathy. We doctors are the best doctors are those who have empathy for the patients, who have empathy and who are concerned about their life, not about people who can do senseless violence like this and kill innocent people whom they don't even know. They are just going out and exploding bombs and killing people they don't even know. So this is not revenge. This is not any of the usual crimes. This is worse. So I feel these measures should be taken, and there should be strict security at all teaching institutions, all hospitals, and everywhere else. And I remember I had written on this and spoken on this after the rape incidents in RG Kar. We need more security. We can't leave this. And formerly, criminals were trying to infiltrate into the forensic department so that they could alter the various forensic tests and also the autopsy reports. But now they seem to be infiltrating like the Naxalites did, who used ambulances to transport explosive. They seem to be infiltrating our profession itself. This is terrible. And we work on trust. Tomorrow, if there is no trust, there is no one who is going to let me operate on them. That is the end.
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely right. Let's see if Mr. Sahai is back with us. Mr. Sahai, your opinion on how things, are bound to change after this case, and you also were mentioning how the system itself needs to be appended in a number of ways to stop these activities from proliferating in the future.
See, we are talking from a point of view where primarily, I think, show after show, we are lamenting as to how these things have happened, and that comes from a noble profession and a system, and it should not have gone. Or from an intelligence point of view, there is nobody trusted and there is nobody who can be left above board. So we'll come to that story later. But the major part of the issue is, while we talk about regulatory control, I don't think that the managements of at least 50% of colleges and universities have literally anything to do with management. So they are people who are completely incompetent to run academic institutions. So those people, from builders to variety of people who come, I presume that Al-Falah University, I don't think any of these people has any management capabilities. So point number one. Point number two, how are you giving the accreditation and how are you giving all the nature of licenses which they require? Third, where licenses are not there and it is on a website, we cannot even put a caller on the internet and tell that these particular colleges, they don't have the licenses. Primarily, the system is broken, so let's be very, very clear about it, and things are being bought and sold. Precisely how it is happening, that is another story, but it is happening. So there is a regulatory crisis, and there is no control over the academic institution. There is no control over a variety of other institutions also. So that is for another day. From RJ Kurt, you go to any number of institutions. Supreme Court intervened. But the quality of management and administration at those places have not improved. So one place, one civil volunteer, he executes a crime like rape. So there are a variety of things which are happening. Now you come to this Al-Falah University. Now I don't think, and I'm not ready to accept that the whole town was unaware of it, and somewhere or the other there was an intelligence issue. Radicalization started from 2021. And we told that everything, the whole terrorism is on hold or it is ended or whatever it might be. You take from Kargil till today, it has always been an intelligence failure. Might be accidental, might be ignorance, might be inefficiency, whatever it might be. It is certainly not collusion. So that I'm convinced of the fact. So when there are issues where our intelligence mechanism is not able to rise to the occasion, certifying it and validating in situations to keep their morale high, I think that also has its own issue. If you see the 9/11, so before that the intelligence was need-based sharing. So whosoever requires, he will get it. Because of that need-based sharing of intelligence, this whole 26/11 happened. That is accepted. Now what they do is, so there is a cross pollination sort of a thing. So information is put in Department of Homeland Security, where 23 different departments and agencies, they share the information on a very, very broad basis. And there are instances where the criminal has boarded the aircraft and they have been able to offload him. From 2001 to 2012, there's absolutely no terror case in US. Then it started with the Boston bombing. So and then this whole logistics part of it. Now, the terror main fellow. So that fellow has been moved for 12 hours. We have CCTVs all around the place. Even facial recognition is not in place. So
Right,
this
sir.
is where we stand. And as far as academic institutions, isolation based on what they are, I think that is the old story, and
Fair
we
enough,
cannot
sir.
allow
Fair
the
enough. All
academic
right. We have run out of time, but I appreciate everybody who joined in and shared their perspective. Some breaking news to talk about now.